the scientists and astronauts in waiting have their say, and toward the end of the festivities, I'm introduced. I emerge at last from behind that curtain, and I'm stunned by the thunderous ovation that greets me. These guys are literally standing on their chairs cheering. To receive this sort of overwhelming reception was beyond belief. Somehow it just didn't seem credible that a make-believe space explorer should merit the center of attention amid these real-life heroes. At any rate, I spent the rest of my day at NASA like a kid in a candy store, climbing aboard the actual Apollo 11 lunar module and touring the base, all the while shaking hands, signing autographs, and posing next to the scientists and engineers as they passed Instamatic cameras back and forth. By the time it was over, the sides of my face hurt from smiling. Late in the afternoon, I exchanged thank yous and goodbyes all around, then sped back toward the airport and climbed aboard a plane, pointed back toward L.A. Within a week, we'd begin shooting Star Trek's third season, and as this 727 shot westward, I found myself feeling really good about the show. My spirits had been buoyed tremendously by the events of the day. For the first time, I had seen irrefutable proof that, despite Star Trek's mediocre Nielsen numbers, the series was truly appreciated. Star Trek, I mused, was going to be around for a long time. July 20th, 1968, Los Angeles, California. Things have taken a decided turn for the worse. Almost immediately upon my return to L.A., I'm told NBC has made some last-minute revisions to its upcoming prime-time lineup. Star Trek has been bumped to the network's television graveyard, Friday nights at 10. The time slot is a perennial loser for the network and especially inappropriate for Star Trek in that the majority of our audience is composed of kids and young adults. This new NBC schedule virtually guarantees that the larger percentage of our potential viewers will now be out on dates or safely tucked in their beds by the time we come on the air. My optimism in regard to the upcoming season is gone. Shortly thereafter, Gene Roddenberry is gone too. Angered by NBC's scheduling decisions, Roddenberry offers NBC an ultimatum. Return Star Trek to Monday nights at 7:30, he says, or I walk. Been nice working with you, they reply. Gene's departure vaporizes the last of NBC's dwindling faith in Star Trek, and within the week, they decided to hedge their bets and cut some of their probable losses by hacking generously at our budget. We could no longer afford to shoot on location. We couldn't afford to create many new sets. We couldn't afford many special effects. We couldn't even afford scripts that required any number of guest stars. Additionally, our budgetary restrictions forced us to shorten our shooting schedule from 6 days per episode to 5. That demanded less rehearsal, fewer takes of each scene, less time to perfect the lighting or design of any given set, less complicated camera moves, and less ability to experiment. In short, it straitjacketed our creativity while allowing the tension level on our set to soar. As co-producer Bob Justman says, we had a budget almost large enough to do a really good radio show. With the cards stacked against us, Star Trek continued sliding further and further towards cancellation, and finally, just before Christmas, with our ratings, scripts, and spirits all sinking to an abysmal level, the show was officially put out of its misery. Having limped through 3 seasons of sporadic creative greatness and Nielsen ambivalence, the series could now be officially categorized as a failure. And then things got worse. Throughout this same period, my marriage was in deep trouble, ultimately deteriorating to the point where it, too, could be officially categorized a failure. It was a confusing, heartbreaking situation for my wife and me, one that seemed to defy all efforts toward healing. Over the course of the past several months, it had become increasingly clear that the marriage was simply over. Separation and divorce followed. I resigned myself to the breakup, but I could not even begin coming to grips with the fact that my 3 daughters, more beloved to me than anything else on the planet, were suddenly gone, living, sleeping, laughing, and playing in a different house. 5 days out of every 7 passed without my kids, and it was driving me nuts. By the month's end, I'd begun regularly counting down the 132 hours between the time I'd drop the girls back with their mom on Sunday evenings and pick them up the following Saturday. Sometimes I'd even find myself keeping a notepad tally sheet of hours passed versus hours to go. Further, the words divorced and unemployed almost immediately conspired to leave me in a tough spot financially. In fact, I was pretty much broke. My wife's divorce settlement, arranged prior to Star Trek's cancellation, was based in large part upon my average TV star salary of the past 3 years. Needless to say, with Trek now dumpstered, I was earning a lot less than I had in the past. The financial settlement, alimony, and child support decisions were sizable enough that I had to find work, any work, fast, so that at month's end I could write non-bounceable checks for my ex-wife, my kids, and, of course, the lawyers who allowed me to fall into such penurious situation. Job hunting was not easy, and I quickly found that
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.